So people are reacting around the world to Donnie Tynahan's being elected president. Here's a politician from Ireland, the land of ire. And he's upset. And listen to what he has to say. This is something.
How we are supposed to deal with this monster who's just been elected president of America. America has just elected a fascist, and the best thing that good people in Ireland can do is to ring him up and ask him if it's okay to still bring the shamrock on St. Patrick's Day. I'm embarrassed by the reaction of the Irish government to what's happened in America. Can the government not understand what's happening? We are at an ugly international crossroads. What's happening in Britain is appalling. What's happening across Europe is appalling. It has echoes from the 1930s, and America, the most powerful country in the world, has just elected a fascist. And the best you can come out with from government spokesperson is, well, we have to talk about foreign direct investment. We have to be conscious of American investments in Ireland. There are 50,000 Irish people illegal in America who I'm quite sure are fearful of their futures. When are we going to have the moral courage to speak in terms other than economy all the time and to realise what is happening? I am frightened. I am absolutely frightened for what's happening to this world and what's happening to our inability to stand up for him. I want to ask you, leader, to ask the Minister for Foreign Affairs into this House and to ask him how we are supposed to deal with this monster who's just been elected president of America. Because I don't think any of us in years to come should look back at this period and not say that we did everything in our power to call out for what it is.
52% of American Catholics voted for Donnie Tynahan. You can't be that upset when the majority of you guys voted for him. I guess you can. I guess you can be upset. I'm sure he didn't support him. 52% American Catholics voted for that guy. So it tells you that religion is often a good guiding theology. It just goes to show you religion is bullshit. It has everything to do with the person. And religion is, and what do you think? I'm here with Jim Earl, Emmy Award-winning writer, and hilarious comedian Hank Thompson.
So many figures and stories are coming out now as to why and who voted and why they voted. And the only thing I can wrap my head around is that they did not want more of the same. And they voted for different reasons. Yes. As to what they thought the same was. Right. And the Democratic Party missed that deliberately, that message. Deliberately from day one when they anointed a Hillary dynastic Clinton name to an incumbent party. Two strikes right there. You have an incumbent party that rarely wins in a presidential election. After you just had it for 2 terms, right? Yeah. So usually it's flips unless you get a fresh face. Yeah. And they did the opposite. And they put a Clinton in. A Clinton. That's Talk about Clinton fatigue. Talk about Clinton. It was insane. And people forget that she was only elected to one office. That was Senate in New York. Yeah. And when she started her campaign, she had the exact same lead in the polls because she had name recognition and she was going against a Republican in New York. She had the exact same lead at the end of her campaign as she had at the beginning, meaning she wasn't able to increase it, and they spent $30 million. This is according to Lawrence O'Donnell. Mm-hmm. So what he's saying is that it was already clear that Hillary, which is what I was saying, was that Hillary Clinton, not only a flawed politician, but a horrible a candidate, but a horrible politician, meaning when you have to go out and get your numbers up and get people to vote for you, you go out and campaign and you talk more and you give more speeches and people see you more. Well, the more she talked, the more her numbers went down. Yeah. That's called being a horrible politician. People don't like you. When you talk, you turn people off. It's the opposite of what a politician is supposed to do. The more people, when a politician talks, you're supposed to get more votes. It goes the exact opposite way for Hillary Clinton. And I made that observation last fall. Or if not before that. I'm talking about last fall, 2015. And she did too much of her talking continuously throughout the primaries and the general election to attract Republicans.
Well, that we've laid it out on this show that's exactly what the strategy was. That's not hyperbole to say she was running towards Chuck Schumer, who they just elected to be the leader in the Senate for the Democrats. We showed it on this show twice already that his strategy was, don't worry about blue collar workers in Pennsylvania, because for every blue collar worker we lose, we're going to pick up 2 or 3 Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia. How'd that work out for you? So literally, they're running a Democrat. They're aiming their campaign at Republicans and screwing over Democrats. Why would you be a Democrat at that point? Chuck Schumer is not a Democrat. Chuck Schumer voted to repeal Glass-Steagall. Chuck Schumer voted for the Patriot Act. Chuck Schumer voted for the Iraq War. What is it about Chuck Schumer that makes him a Democrat? So we're left with a bunch of Republican pro-abortion people who call themselves Democrats. It's time for the Democrats to clean house of those guys. I understand Chuck Schumer's not going to quit the Senate, but you can't put him in leadership position, which is what they did. So I'm done with the Democratic Party as far as that goes. But this guy, this Irish guy, he's worried about the illegal Irish immigrants in America, which I never even thought about.
I did not know there were 50,000 Irish people in America illegally.
Illegally?
I did not know that.
By the way, I have a feeling they're going to be able to slip past immigration.
Yeah, I wonder. Yes.
Come on, a white Irish guy? I don't think it's going to be that tough to slip by ICE. Okay, go ahead.
We got to build a wharf, keep the Irish out.
Oh, we got to build a wharf. They're going to build that wharf and make Ireland pay for it.
Yeah. Is a wharf a water wall? Something like that. Pile of rocks. Anyway, everybody's confused about how to respond because this is a weird emergency, the Trump presidency. It's slow motion, and we can sense danger on the horizon. It already feels catastrophic, and depending on which group you belong to, it will impact you immediately or later at different time frames and time scales. So I think there's a group like this guy, and I applaud this kind of talk, who are saying, when I look back on this story, I can't really control how this shakes out, but I'm going to at least be able to say, I spoke up right away. I think there's people doing that right now, and I wish everybody was doing that right now.
I think the solution is to scapegoat the people who were right from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you mean the people who back Bernie Sanders make it their fault?
Right,
the people who were right from the beginning.
Organize a vigilante mob, pitchforks and torches, and go to their houses and make them get on their knees and apologize to Hillary because, it was impolite calling her out.
It was impolite to not everybody get behind a loser.
And her response to Make America Great was, America's already great.
Okay.
Which is just basically saying, I don't hear your pain.
Yes.
And that's why she lost.
100%. You're 100% right, Hank. It was
I
them.
always am.
They're tone deaf. I mean, they just elected Chuck Schumer, could not be a bigger Wall Street whore. There's the biggest. Chuck Schumer is the symbol for what's wrong with the Democrats, and Bernie Sanders just backed him. So that just tells me there's no fight in Bernie Sanders to fight the Democratic Party. He thinks the salvation is still inside the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is a graveyard for progressives. Especially, they just signaled again, Chuck Schumer, it's over for the Democrats. So I thought there was going to be a chance that Bernie Sanders could take on a leadership role in the Democratic Party, which he should have. He didn't. He let Chuck Schumer be the leader in the Senate, which is a mistake. Now I'm not going to lift a finger to try to turn the Senate blue. I'm not. So our whole thing was we could have taken over the Senate in 2 years and then the House and the Senate in 4 and a president. We could have I think we have to start on third party and try to get our numbers up to 10%. And then the Democrats have to come to us, and we have a coalition government with real progressives. That's the only way this is going to work because the Democrats Bernie Sanders, remember what he did? He turned his back on his movement. That's not hyperbole. He did that. He turned his back on his movement because he was afraid. He didn't want to end up like Ralph Nader personally. You have to risk ending up like Ralph Nader. You have to risk things if you want to save things. He's not risking anymore. He's backing Chuck Schumer. The exact wrong thing to do. He should have stood up to Chuck Schumer and said, you have to take a back seat. I'm now the leader of the progressives in the Senate. You have to sit down.
I don't agree that he turned his back. I think
he did. He backed Hillary Clinton.
I think he
should have went and done his own thing.
I think he backed Hillary Clinton because he thought that she would win and that he would have a leadership position in order to carry out his policies.
I'm telling you exactly the exact quote
move
from him. That's exactly what he said. The reason why he didn't do it, I'm just telling you what he said, Jim. The reason why he didn't do it, he told Chris Hedges, was I don't want to end up like Ralph Nader.
Well, that's one aspect of it. I don't think that was the whole reason.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I hope he was trying to play a long game like, hey, she's going to win and it's inevitable, and that I better try to get in a position of power to do something. Maybe, but keep this in mind. 40% of Americans consider themselves not a Republican and not a Democrat. If you get those people, that wins. You have your plurality, you win the election. That's what we have to look for right now. We have to look for ideas and solutions outside the Democratic Party because the Democrats seem bent on doing the exact same thing. We got people like Karen Finney out there blaming it on Bernie bros. You got people like everybody from the Clinton campaign blaming it on nobody. It's like, again, they couldn't be dumber. If you want 8 years of Donald Trump, vote for Chuck Schumer. If you want 8 years of Donald Trump, leave Donna Brazile inside your party. If you want to have 8 years of I'm telling you, it's a big mistake, and they're all making it. They're making it. Bernie Sanders made that. It's a mistake. There's no other way to say it. Personnel is policy. You put Chuck Schumer in a position of leadership in the Senate, you lost me, so you lost. I'm not going to help you lift a fucking finger to help turn the Senate blue. I'm going to start working for a third party. I'm not even kidding
It's
a little.
3 o'clock.
I just want to know who the fucking Wiccans voted for.
Okay, that's it.